Right, hello team. Today is another beautiful day here in Seattle. I want to take a couple of minutes here to really kind of give you my idea of sometimes the way I prospect with new people coming into the business. So I'll start with trying to get to understand what they're doing, what they're up to, right? How's the family going, the form, right? Then I try to somehow start with the conversation by having all that. Then I'll start with like, how's the economy treating you? How's work going, right? And they'll usually tell me the economy is bad, work's not, they don't like what they're doing, and they're looking for something new. And that's what I'm looking for. If they say that, I'll say, so why are you going to work then? Why do you put up with that? And they'll typically tell me, because I need to make the money. I need to pay the bills, and I'll ask them, why make money? The bills, put food on the table. So I'll say, well, at the end of the day, we go to work because it's not because we want to pay the bills or put food on the table. We really looking for one objective, and that's really to take care of our family, right? So if taking care of your family is the most important thing for you, what is more important to your family? Is it your money or your time? And typically they'll sit and think about it and they'll say, it's my time, right? But it's hard for us to give them both, right? You got to give them either time, no money, or money and no time. And so when they say that, I say, if there's a better way of doing it, would you be willing to listen? And I said, I learned this concept. It came out from Robert Kiyosaki, and it talks about the 4 quadrant, right? So I'll say, this is the 4 quadrant. There's 4 quadrant of people in there, right? And every one of us is in this 4 quadrant. It doesn't matter where you're at. The first quadrant is when people have time, but no money. Now these are pretty easy to get. People like this is really where they have a part-time job, or they don't have a job right now, they have extra time, but they have no money, right? The second quadrant of people, they have no time, but they have money. Now these guys are a little different. They are like professionals, doctors, lawyers, small business owner, where they're always there working. They have money, but they just don't have enough time for the family. Then the other quadrant they have is we have people that have no time and no money, right? Now this is a group you don't want to be in. This quadrant here is really bad because you're working 12, 14, 16 hours a day, sometimes 2 or 3 jobs, and you're barely making ends meet, right? You don't want to be here. And because the way the economy is right now, most people, a lot of real estate agents is actually in this quadrant. They're working a lot, but they're not making the money like they used to, right? So 99% of us are actually in these 3 quadrants. Very few of us are actually get to see this, where you have time and we have money, right? What are these guys? These guys are like leverage and residual income, where they don't go to work and they still make money, right? So when I do this, I say, which quadrant are you in? Where would you like to be? And everybody says, they like to be here, right? Obviously, we want all to be there, right? So I said, but they said, Mike, that doesn't exist. I either have time or no money, or have money and no time. I don't understand how you get time and money. So I'll give them an example. The example is really this. I ask them, say it's whoever it is. I ask them, how many hours a day do you work? They'll tell me 8, 10, 12, maybe 14. And I'll say, wow, I want you to pretend you're either Superman or Superwoman, depending, Superman or Superwoman. And I'll say, why don't you pretend you're going to work 20 hours a day? Okay? 20 hours a day. What would be a good wage? And I'll ask them, with $25, $30, we get a pretty good wage? They'll say, yeah, that's pretty decent. I say, okay, great. Let's make it $50 an hour. Okay? This equals to $1,000 a day. Right? I said, yeah, that's a pretty good wage. But when you're working 20 hours a day, you're not going to have enough energy to continue doing that all the time. So when you don't go to work, 0 hours times $50 is still $0. Right? Don't nod their head. I said, this is what I'm talking about. So I said, would you believe me if I can work 100 hours every day? Like, Mike, you're crazy. There's only 24 hours. How are you able to work 100? I says, through leverage. Because what I do is I get 99 other people working with me, including myself, as 100 people. Each one of us do 1 hour a day. We will have 100 hours of work. Now, we all know people like this. You know, the successful people, they work hundreds, thousands, and tens of thousands of hours every day, right? But we don't make $50 an hour. Let's say just make $10 an hour. This will still give us $1,000 a day. No, not the head. I said, but there's more importantly, if I don't go to work, how many hours do I still work? 99, right? And if I take that, I still times by $10, I still make $990. Right? So I say, if you look at this equation here, right? If I work 20 hours a day, you have no time. If you work 0 hours, you have no money, right? Because you don't go to work, you don't make any money. Here, I only work 1 hour. Do I have to plus time? Right? If I don't go to work, I still have plus money. Now you look at that, you say, where would you like to be? So I ask them, if there's a proven system to do this, to give you the plus time and plus money, would you be willing to give me a half an hour of your time for me to show you a system, a proven system to achieve this, a vehicle to do this? And typically they'll say, yes, Mike, I'm curious to see what you're talking about, right? So as soon as they say yes, I say, great, let me get somebody like a three-way or whatever it is I'm looking at and doing. Then I go in and I talk about the 5-point presentation. There's really 5 key factors on how to make this thing work. And that is our 5-point presentation, okay?